Be honest, do you think I should change my engine? Hello, I'm Jake, aka HamStuff, and welcome to Season 2 of Jake Plays F1 25, where there's an R&D reset. So some of the upgrades I put onto the car, as well as some of the upgrades Kenny's put on the car, are no longer legal under the new regulations. But fortunately, you can spend some R&D points to adapt certain parts and make them legal for 2026. So the R&D reset only affects one aspect of the car. This year it's aerodynamics. Next time, it could be anything. But I say this year, currently it's 2025 in game. So it told me about this right before the last race of the season. Which, well, it's not very helpful. I wish it told me about it a bit before. But I use what meagre R&D points I have to adapt my upgrades, because if I don't, we lose them forever. At least I think we do. There might be the option to upgrade that part of the car with that particular upgrade later on during the season, but obviously it'll come instead of a different upgrade that I want to do. And there'll be a number of races without this particular upgrade, after which we could develop it, but in the meantime we'll still be at a disadvantage. So you might be wondering who I'm driving for in Season 2. Well, let's get to some contract signing. Yep, I'm sick with Connorsport, but have the option for a multi-season deal. So based upon the performance in 2025, we're building towards something better. So I think after 2 seasons we'll be able to fight for a championship. So I'll be spending the next 2 seasons with this team. Because in 26 I don't think I'll fight for a championship. But the season after, there might be a chance. But for now, we need to focus on more R&D. I don't have many R&D points, so I've got to spend what I have wisely. You're unlikely to have enough R&D points to adapt every part of the car, so you really have to prioritise. You can get R&D points from completing practice programs for 3 practice 1, 2 and 3, and also you get weekly resources. It sort of gives you some points. But it's not many, and it's not as often as you might like. If you're into the F1 games, you've probably heard of Arava, but I want to give him a shout out anyway, just in case you haven't heard of him, because I've been thoroughly enjoying his episodes. And if you know of anyone else that makes F1 25 content, let me know down below. Now, normal upgrades take time to develop. Fortunately, when you adapt pre-existing upgrades using an R&D reset, it happens instantly. You don't have to wait. I'm happy about it. But I do think it would be more interesting if you had to wait a couple of Grand Prix. Maybe the Grand Prix after next, it would come in then for a minor upgrade, or it would be a couple of Grand Prix. Is it Grand Prix or Grands Prix? But a couple of race weekends down the line for a major upgrade. So I'm doing well in my rivalries and recognition. Now that win, that doesn't include the sprint win. That's by Franco Chumps. Now, we talked about research development. That's had a little twist in the tale. Because you can have different scenarios which affect how it works. For instance, you can only upgrade a particular part of the car. Now, some of these are locked out until your 3rd season in F1. But if you choose wisely, this could get you an advantage. So I'm going to go for high inflation. Upgrades become more expensive the more you develop, which will hopefully stop the big teams running away with it, because they've got more resources than us little minnows, our garageistas, whatever you want to call teams like Connorsport, Kick Sauber, Haas, Alpine and VCAR, because we're usually the ones at the bottom of the R&D chart. But bear in mind, this affects everybody, including you. And it's for the whole season, there's no undoing it. So you'd better be certain of your choice. So we have some driver moves. I'll go into more detail about that in just a moment. So let's hear that most of the teams in 2025 and 2026. Although Kick Sauber become Audi in real life, they're still Sauber Kick Stake F1 team in game. So here are the drivers. Let's see where they're moving to. This is a straight swap. Lando, Oscar, Charles, Lewis, George, Kimi, Jake, Calais, Alex, Carlos, Esteban, Ollie, Nico, Gabriel, Isaac and Liam all drive for the same team. However, for some of the teams and some of the drivers, that's not the case. So where do Max, Fernando and Pierre go? Nowhere. They're with the same team. However, Franco Colapinto and Paul Aron have been promoted from F2 to Aston Martin and Alpine. Lance Stroll has been promoted to Red Bull. But unfortunately for Yuki Tsunoda and Jack Doohan, they've been promoted to customer. So you know who's racing with who, but where are we racing? So Season 1 we had 10 different tracks. Season 2 we have 16. I think I'll keep you that for a while. So returning with Australia and Japan and Bahrain. Joining we have Imola, back to familiar Monaco. Brand new is Spain before the return in Canada. During the season is Austria before the return in Great Britain and Belgium. Next we had Hungary. We go back to Monza, just like in Season 1, but brand new is Azerbaijan. Singapore, back to familiar ground in Texas for the US Grand Prix. Then over to the finale, Brazil, just like last time. So there's not been a plethora, is that the right word? There's not been much on-track action.
Fuel-saving technique. Lift and coast through corner entry to save as much as you can whilst keeping under the minimum lap time.
So I want to show you something that might make it in. Although we did start with a clip that didn't make it in the last season. That was from Canada. I just didn't have time to include it in the episode. So I'm not going to tell you what track this is, but you can probably work it out. This is one of the practice programs where I have to save fuel. I could just drive as slow as possible, but I have a minimum lap time I have to accomplish. Surprisingly, making things easier are the wet conditions. Although, truth be told, it's not that wet, it's damp. So I did struggle with overheating tyres. But that's not a problem over one lap. Especially when I'm not driving as fast as I possibly could, because I'm just trying to save a little bit of fuel here and there where I can, while maintaining speed and maintaining lap time. And you can see my fuel saving, they're good, but they're not great. Every time I come out the corner, I try to carry the speed, but my fuel saving's not getting any better. So right at the end, I decided to lift off.
And a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage.
Terrible for lap time, but great for saving fuel. Thanks for watching the episode. Check out the rest of the series. I'm Jake, and I'll catch you later.